Hi, this is Bonnie, and what I wanted to let you know is that DiesRUs doesn't just carry dies, they also carry stamps. And all different kinds of stamps. You pretty much have to sometimes, there is a category where you can select stamps and there'll be a drop down, but sometimes you can just type in the brand and that will also come up, just to let you know. So anyway, today I am going to be using a die, but I'm going to use the dropouts to this. This is Tutti Designs, and it is the Beehive pattern, and it's a 736. And the dropout parts, I'll just show you. I'm going to be using some of these for my design today. And then I'm going to be, this is in the store, there is several, not a lot, but there's several of this brand in there. And I always want to say it's AALL Create. I don't know if I say that right. And the one I am using, I'm trying to see what the name is on this one. It's number 200. I can see that. But yeah, I don't see actually any other. Oh, here we go. Right on the side. I guess it's called a Hope, and it's made by Tracy Evans. So I'm going to be using this flower today. I'm also going to be using the gel press, which is also in the DiesRUs store. You can get this in there. So there's a lot of things you just kind of have to look. And then there are some Brushos that are also in there. You can buy the entire set, or there are a few you can buy individuals. And I'm going to be using the gray and crimson, at least that's my plan. So to go ahead and get started, I'm going to use a mixed media plate like this, so I'm not going to mess up my regular mat. And I'm also going to be using a platform that I've had in my stash for a while. This one's by Tonic Studios, and I just like it only because when I turn it over I can see what I'm doing. But you can also see that when you do, you can use like your gel presses and do the same kind of concept in a way, although I don't know that the stamps stick really well, but this works like if you want a background stamp. So what the plan is, I got out some paper that's a little bit more substantial. It's a real thick card, and it's not a watercolor card, but it is thick, and it can be like a watercolor card. It is absorbent. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tapping some of this color on my actual stamp, and this one happens to be crimson. And that's all I'm going to do is tap some on there, and then I'm going to spray it, and then I'm going to stamp it. And I want to make this like I don't think there's going to be much that stays on this, and that's okay. The predominant part I want to do is this bloom. But I am going to go ahead and see if I can get a little bit on the stem as well. All right, I think I got enough on there. And then we're just going to spritz that, and I'm just using a distress sprayer. And you can see right away how that color comes up. It's really pretty. So it did get a little bit on the stem. So the reason I like this platform is because I can see when I stamp what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put this slightly to the side, not into the center. And just stamp it. And push, because this also, depending on the paper you use, it will actually make it move. This isn't moving as much as I thought it would, but it's still working for me. So that's the first thing I want to do. I'm going to lift that up, see what we get. Yep, so that's exactly what I wanted to do. I want you to see that a little bit closer. So you can see all the different designs in there, colors from that Brusho, and I really like that. So I'm going to do that one more time. I want to do 2 of them on here. So I'm going to leave what's on here already, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a little bit more on the center there. And I'm going to see if I can get a little bit more down here. All right. And then I'm going to go ahead and spritz that again. And then we're going to get another design. I just think this is a really, really pretty flower. And I think I'm going to drop it just a little bit underneath it. It's a little bit different than your typical. And that one, I really like that splotch. That's really cool. So you get them different every time, and I just think that is super cool. And I think that has a lot to do too with how much water that you have on it. And I might even try to do a little bit more on top of that one. I just don't know if I want to mess up what's already there. But I think I'm just going to leave it be and let that go. So that's kind of like what I want to do to start. Then the next thing I want to do, I think I'm going to set this aside just to see if I can use it for something else, is I want to go ahead and actually, I do have to clean that off. I actually want to stamp on top of this with the stamp. So I need to clean that off so that I can do that. I'm trying to think of the other, I remember the other things I want to do. I want to take this off like I said, and then I'm going to go ahead and put some more just regular on the, well, actually not this. You think I don't even know for sure what here I'm doing, but I do. I've got my gel press. That's what I wanted to do next. And what I'm going to do with that is use this as a stamp, as I said. And I'm going to go ahead and put the crimson on this. It's always hard to see this too. And then when you spray it, then you get to see it a little bit better, but that's how it goes. Okay, so I can see that I've got some on here, and that'll work. All right, so I'm going to take a bunch of these fallouts I told you I had. I already got some ink on it, and that's okay. I want a bunch of these. I'm not sure how many I'm going to use, but there's so many that falls out from that stamp that it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to try to make it so I can keep it within this, and that's a 3 by 5. So if I keep that within this 3 by 5 section, I'll be able to stamp on those. And that's probably going to be plenty. All right, so I'm going to take this and use this as a stamp. And just go right on top of those. Just like that. And you can really see how the gel press really works really cool when you do that. You can see how pretty those are. And then you're going to have to pick off each one of those and let them dry. Which is super. And then we'll use those on the card as well. So I just wanted you to see all the different designs you can get by doing that. Super cool. All right, so I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to clean this stuff off, and then we're going to get back to stamping. Okay, so for this part, like I said, I'm going to be doing some stamping, and I'm going to start with the Versifying Clear Morning Mist. I want it to be light to start with, and you can probably see the Brushos did stain my stamp. It doesn't hurt it in any way for me to use that. I see that's a little bit crooked on here. I want that to be a little bit more straight. I try to line it up with a grid just so that I know that at least helps me stay a little bit more straight when I'm stamping, so I'm going to have to adjust this. So I'm offsetting this a little bit. I don't want it to go and completely cover up what I just cut through putting on here, so I'm offsetting it. And I'm offsetting it so that the red is up towards the right, upper right. And we'll see how that goes. So it's going to be kind of like a background highlight for the flower. All right, let's see how that goes. And if I find that this isn't dark enough, I'm going to use the Nocturne, but I wanted to start out light just in case I didn't want it to be really dark. Yeah, I really kind of like it like that. That's really cool. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is line that up for the one down here. Now you don't have to do this kind of thing as, you know, making it a shadow, but I just thought it was super cool. So again, I'm gonna bring that down into the, actually I'm bringing it to the left of the stamped red image. Okay. All right, that looks really super. I really like that. It's really fun and it's different. So the next thing I'm going to do is figure out how I'm going to add a little bit more of this, the stamps that are on the set. I'm going to see how I'm going to add a little bit more to this. Okay, so I decided I am going to be using these three right here. One says create, one says dream, and one says imagine. I really like the texture and I like the little words that are with it. I am also going to be using the sentiment, do new things every day, because that's kind of like what I'm doing today, is I am doing something new and different for me. So I'm going to make sure that that sentiment's lined up a little bit better. I usually try to do that a little bit with the grid marks that are in my lid. Let's see how that will go. And the sentiment, I am not going to be using the VersaFine Clear Morning Mist. I am going to use the Nocturne, but I just left it on here. Okay, let's see how this looks. I can see I missed some ink on that one. It's hard for me to see the Morning Mist on the stamps. I don't know why, but it is. So yeah, I'll go ahead and add that. A little bit of ink. I think I missed a... I don't want to put too much on because it makes it darker than what I want it. And you can see what I mean, so now I'm going to add a little bit more to the other ones. On just the one side. As you can see, one side's darker than the other, so I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, that looks good. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. And then I'm going to do the sentiment a minute. And I am going to use the Nocturne. I am waiting for those, I think they're called, let's see, they're six-sided, so octagon, no, that's not octagon, that's sextagon. Anyway, I'm waiting for these designs to dry. That looks great. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm waiting for those to dry so that I can add those on here. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm not going to glue them on, I'm going to stitch them on with the machine. And I think that will look really super. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put one in the center of these also. I'm going to see how that looks. I might not. Might just leave it be and just put these randomly throughout and stitch those on. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and I'll be back. Okay, so I have those, I want to call them, I don't know what those are called, but anyway, the six-sided figures all stitched on and with black thread. It kind of goes with the style of the design of the flowers, having the stitch in there. I thought I'd add a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to use the Pentel Sparkle Pop Silver Pen, gel pen, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to add some sparkle just to this, these squiggly lines. I'm just going to put some dots along the side. Not really overly significant, just a little bit of sparkle on each of them, I think. I could have put the lines straight across. In fact, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of having the lines go straight across. I think I'm going to do that. So because this is a sketch line, I'm just going to go straight across. Oh, my pen's not behaving on top of that, so maybe not. There we go. I got a little bit. There we go. So I'm just adding a little bit of, almost coloring it in with this. I think that actually adds to it. You can kind of see that, the sprinkle. So that's what I'm going to do for each one. Just go across. And then I think that's all I'm really going to do to add a little bit of sparkle. I don't know, I think I probably could do some dots in the center of those flowers at the top. But I don't think it's going to show up that much, but we'll do it. I mean, there'll be some, you'll be able to catch the light a little bit, but it's not, it's very subtle. But if you tilt it, you can see it, otherwise it doesn't show up all that much. So that's what I'm going to do. It was a pretty simple card. It just, you know, it took a little bit of time. It was a little bit of a different technique from me. I hope that inspired you. Maybe you can just think of how you can stamp using the Brushos or anything like that, or any kind of pigment paint or whatever, pigment powder, and then stamp on top of it. It's not like, I'm sure it's been done before, but I thought maybe this would give you a different idea of what you can do. So I will have the links to what is in the DiesRUs store below, and I hope you have a great day.